Okay, so this is going to be a quick video to show how you can use a little bit of RNG manipulation to get some consistent spawns for Galactic Civil War runs. So in order to get this manipulation to work, you have to start from a fresh console reset. So my console's off right now, so I'm staring at this wonderful blue screen. But that's why this really isn't viable for like grinding attempts because having to reset your console every single time just to save like 5 seconds on the first level doesn't really make sense and it would drive you crazy after like 2 hours. So this isn't by any means like a viable thing, but it is cool to show that it exists and it shows that the potential exists for maybe bigger and better manipulation in the future. So we're gonna go ahead and restart this here or reboot the console. So a little thing about how this game works is it has a set list of spawns, a master list of spawns that it loads. I'm not sure if it loads it like when it's booting up here, when the game actually starts to load, or if it loads it when you select which campaign you want to do. Like I said, I've been testing this for Galactic Civil War. I'm almost certain it extends to Clone Wars campaign runs, and it might even extend to certain instant action levels that would require more investigation. But it loads a master list of these spawns, and spawns contain two components. You can think of them as like tuples. The first part is where the default position is for your command post selection cursor, so where you can select, two different command posts or how many ever you have. That's the first part of it, and the second part of it is where you actually physically spawn on the map. So right now, the RNG is not being manipulated in any way. Like I can kind of do whatever I want to on the main menu screens here. The RNG is not being changed at all. So we're gonna go ahead and pick historical campaign, Galactic Civil War, and go into Dune Sea like if we were gonna do a run. So in order to show that the master
Yes.
list kind of works, I'm just gonna go ahead and show you how you can basically, well, predict where you're going to be based on this list. So the very first spawn, that's the default spawn, first time, every time, is the cursor is going to default to the sand crawler, and when I spawn, I will be standing to the right of the speeder bike on the right side of the sand crawler,
Our
which we can see right
reinforcements
here.
are
There's
being
the speeder
depleted.
bike, I'm on the right, just like I predicted. So again, this is consistent. You always spawn there the first time you start up a Galactic Civil War run. Now, assuming all things are equal and all of your inputs are equal, you can kind of replicate certain spawns. So I quit out there. The act of quitting out of a map basically it increments the index to say, okay, basically go to the next spawn the next time they start the map. So now we're going to start the map a second time when it loads in.
In
And we're going
us.
to go ahead and, load it up again. Now when it loads up, it's going to go to the second spawn in this master list, which has the cursor default position on the sand crawler, but I will spawn in the very back left corner of the map. So, like I said, how much time you spend on the main menu doesn't change this at all, and I'll be right there in the back corner, just
Our
like that, left
reinforcements
side,
have been cut off.
just like that. So once again, we're going to quit out. Now, like I said, there are a few things that do mess with the RNG and actually increment it farther than just one, right? Because right now it's incrementing at a steady pace of what is essentially one. One, you start at one, two, three, so on and so forth. So one of the things that doesn't
In
influence
us.
it is your movement on the map. However, your teammates' movement does, which means I can kind of run around, jump a little bit before my teammates spawn, and it won't change it. So the third spawn you're going to see here is a default cursor position on Dune Sea, and when I load in on Sandcrawler, I'm going to be in the back right of the map. So the cursor is going to be on Dune C, and I'm going to load in
We're
the back
losing
right of the map.
reinforcements.
So now I'm going to run around and jump a little bit here, just kind of move around a little bit. I don't want my teammates to spawn because that's when things start getting weird because the second your teammates spawn in, all predictability is kind of gone because they're so random and so sporadic. But just to show you that my little bits of movement there don't affect it, I'm going to load up one more time. And the
In
fourth
us.
time will be, let me reference my notes here because I documented the first 30 of these. The fourth one will be, yeah, default will be, the cursor will be on the sand crawler and I will spawn up front behind the skiff. That's going to be there. So that'll be the fourth one. Like I said, my movements don't really affect it, so it will be the same. Sandcrawler, and I'm standing behind the skiff. So now we have to talk about what actually does affect the RNG. And the big one is your teammates. So when these little bastards spawn in, they make everything absurd. Like at this point now, they're moving around, they're doing stuff. The RNG predictability is it's gone. It's out the window. I have no more control over where it is. Uh, you could end up anywhere in that master list at this point. I have no idea how much your teammates influence it, but they influence it a lot. And so we're going to go ahead and reset this here because now I'm going to show you how the manipulation can kind of work. So, like I said, your teammates influence it, your movements do not. The act of killing an enemy or capturing a command post may or may not influence it. It's actually impossible to tell right now unless you really want to find memory addresses in the code that represent all of this, because you can't kill an enemy or capture a command post without your teammates first spawning in. So whatever RNG might be changed by killing an enemy or capturing a command post is superseded by the rapid change generated by your teammates moving. However, there is one other factor that you can actually control in a reasonable amount of time that alters how you spawn in. It adjusts the RNG, and that is actually how many bullets you shoot. So I don't know whether it's how much total ammo you have left, how much ammo you have left in your current clip, or how much ammo you've used, but the act of using ammo actually changes the RNG of where you spawn. So I'm going to show a quick little example of this. I am going to shoot 28 bullets. By shooting 28 bullets, I will have 27 left in my clip, and I will be able to tell you where I'm going to spawn after this. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of blast the ground 28 times to have 27 bullets left in my clip, and you'll see that I will know where I'm going to spawn after this. So again, we're going to get the same default spawn that we always do to the right. I'm going to go ahead and just rapidly fire here. Okay, 27 bullets and quit. So, like I said, I have now shot 28 bullets. I've got 27 bullets left in my clip. I have total, what is that? I forget how many, was it 250 ammo you have, or 255, something like that, but so we're going to go ahead and reload this again. Now, if I remember correctly, my default cursor position, I think, is the sand crawler, but I know for a fact that I'm going to spawn to the left of the skiff. So wherever my default cursor position is, I think it's the sand crawler, but it might be Dune. I don't remember exactly, but I do remember that I will spawn to the left of the skiff right next to it. So I will be up front to the left of the skiff. And there it is. So you can, and again, the act of shooting does actually change your position in this master list. Because the question's going to come up, it is not a one-to-one adjustment from what I can tell. So in other words, remember how I said quitting out seems to index it by 1 for all intents and purposes? Shooting a bullet does not increment it by 1. So in other words, 1 bullet does not equal 1 jump ahead in the list. I know this because of what you're going to see when I actually do manipulate a perfect spawn. The pattern that I see going forward from that perfect spawn, if I just quit out and increment by 1, is not a pattern I documented in the first 30 cases of this. So, like I said, how much time passes since the level loads doesn't influence it, but there's some amount that each bullet changes it by. It may be 1, it may be 10, so maybe shooting 28 bullets jumps you ahead 280 positions, I don't know. But it does something. So I have found a way, again, like I said, to get a perfect spawn. So from a fresh console reset here, we can go ahead and do Galactic Civil War. We're just going to go ahead and load in. Like I said, you're going to be in that same default position. I mean, you can see here that the position's the same every reset, every time. Defaulting to the sand crawler, and you're going to be way to the right side, basically the right edge of the command post with the speeder bike right there. Then what you're going to do is you're just going to shoot 8 bullets. Just 8 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 bullets and reset. Now, the next time you pick Dune C, you will spawn in on the left side of the sand crawler, right next to the left speeder bike. So you can basically just get right on it and start the level.
in us.
Uh, this matters because depending on where you spawn on the map, it can take anywhere from I think like 3 to 7 seconds to actually get to a speeder bike, depending on how bad your spawn is. So it is a somewhat substantial amount of time saved to be right next to it. But like I said, default's going to be on the Dune Sea, but I'm going to be right next to a speeder bike when I spawn in. So again, this is manipulatable. You have complete control over your spawns until your teammates make a mess of everything. Um, Not very useful, like I said. It would be something kind of fun to show off to like viewers or in a marathon. But God, if you run this game in a marathon, good luck to you. But it's kind of something that's just kind of fun to show off that this kind of manipulation does exist, and for something like initial spawns to a map, it is all very manipulatable. I shouldn't say really it's manipulatable, but it can be very predictable under very controlled circumstances. Doing the proper set of inputs every time will give you, well, the same results, right? So, it's definitely interesting, and it does kind of, I think, open the doorway for the potential for much more substantial manipulations,
Our reinforcements have
especially
been cut
if,
off.
more consistency can be found or more control can be found. So, like I said, it's interesting, it's exciting, it's the potential to be pretty great, and yeah, it's really just kind of interesting how it works. I know I kind of dumped a lot of information into this video. I didn't want to make it too long. I also didn't want to make it too overly technical, but I did write up a very large post that'll go along with this that I'll be posting to the speedrun.com forums. Uh, and I'll just basically put a link to that thread uh, in the comment or in the description below the video so that anybody who's curious in actually reading more about this in a bit with a bit more information, or if you just need kind of words to help digest everything I just kind of threw at you, you can read it there. Uh, like I said, the manipulation technique is very simple. Just from a fresh console reset, load in Dune C, shoot 8 bullets, so you have 47 left in your clip, and then reset. Uh, and you'll get that perfect spawn every time right next to the bike. You can hop right on and take off to the bluff, and congrats, you've just saved about 5 seconds. But I don't know if it works with necessarily other troopers. Like maybe, I don't know, you need less scout trooper shots to get it to work. I don't know. I didn't really test with them because it's not really worth my time at this point. But like I said, it's just cool to see that it exists, and I hope maybe it opens up the door for more in-depth manipulation to potentially be possible. Um, Either way, if somebody had already found this before and it's kind of widely known, then oh well, at least now there's a video of it, but I sure as hell didn't know about it until today, so I thought it was pretty cool to see it firsthand and see it working. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and hopefully this was kind of informative and you found it as interesting as I did.